what I want to ask is a real reality. Is
Hmm.
it okay that some people don't like us? Like, how do we manage and handle that level of rejection without cause?
A lot of people just don't have a good relationship with rejection, and because of that, you put your eyes on people rather than the path that God actually has for you. And I've stopped trying to chase people who do not choose me. All of
Woo!
that is divinely orchestrated. Like all of that is divinely orchestrated. So I know that I mean well, Jackie. I know that I'm me. You ain't finna get nothing else. You gonna get me stuttering. You gonna get me hollering, laughing. You gonna get me clocking a little T. But
I love it.
I am who I am. And so when people don't like me, it really is okay. It really is okay because at the end of the day, what has anybody ever not liking me kept me from accomplishing?
I want everything he has for me. He has for me. Yeah. He's already given me permission.
Hey family, welcome back to Permission Talk. I am so excited to have you back. And for any of my newbies that just found out about Permission Talk, I want to say welcome. Welcome to a tribe that's all about nothing surface and all things freedom. I want to let you know that Permission Talk is a place where women can be embraced, empowered, and equipped to walk into the godly freedom that God has for them. If you are in a space where you feel like you're free, but that freedom has not been founded in Jesus, I will say stay tuned because I do feel like true freedom is found in the presence of the Lord and in a true relationship with Him. And so I'm so excited about the way these conversations will transform your life. And just to give you a little bit about myself, I have the privilege to be married to my best friend. He's a gospel recording artist, Travis Greene. He is my baby daddy. He is my pastor. He is all the things. We've been dating since college, and I love him a lot. Check out all my social media. You'll see lots of pictures and all the things. Catch the story there. We have the privilege of mothering and fathering, or should I just say parenting, three little boys, Jay, Josh, and Judah, who are taking the world by storm, y'all. They run me crazy. I probably really should not profess that, but they are a handful. That's all I'm gonna say. Being a boy mom is a real thing. Author, pastor, and have the ability to be a podcaster all at the same time, wearing a lot of hats. But more than anything, I have such a heart to see people walk in the fullness of who God has created them for. And so, super excited about the conversation we're going to have because I do believe that the Lord has sent us somebody that actually is a brand new best friend made fast to the table. That, I mean, she is real, she's bold, she's authentic. And to give you a little bit about her bio, she is also a wife, a mom, a relational strategist, an author, an NASM certified personal trainer, coach, and founder and host of Friend Fusion. She is all things friendship, y'all, and she is my good friend. Can you welcome to Permission Talk for the first time, Trinity Mitchell? How are you, sis?
Hey, friend, good that it gave me permission, child.
Okay. We out here with permission and fusing friendship into it. So,
Yes.
so Trend, I tell the people that we have just gotten to know each other very recently. We met
Yeah.
this year, and I would have to say that we kicked it off from the very first time I saw you. I mean, I see a girl with a banging body, shaved sides, bold, but have such a spirit of humility. You got on the floor. You were not only bold enough to speak your actual thoughts where you weren't conforming to what was in the room, but you were also a student in that you sat down and listened and you kept quiet in moments where there was something to learn. I just want to say, like, can you give them a little spiel on what it was like meeting myself? Like, what was the vibe for you? I can tell them a lot about my perspective. You're just a dope girl, and I felt immediately like this is somebody I want to grow in friendship with. So, how was things for you as we talk about friendship this month?
Thank you. Sis, I will be honest with you. Initially, when I saw you, I thought, I don't know if she like me or not because I'm a lot. And when I say a lot, when I say like me, I mean like I'm. You get what you see, and
Yes.
and this it may sound funny, Jackie, but like in ministry, and the more people I meet, I realize that it's also an industry. So it can be weird, like
Absolutely.
you really don't know. You always trying to feel people out, but as soon as you open your mouth, I said, I I texted Brandon. I said, Brandon, I got me a new girlfriend.
Oh my goodness. That's so beautiful. And that means so much. And I understand, like, it's so funny how, just by face value, sometimes you don't know. But when you're able to have that moment of connection, it was real for me. And I could just tell with posture and everything, I was like, no, this is one of my kind of people. And I would have to echo that upon you talking and even seeing truthfully your silence too as a student really marked me. So I think that so often, especially when you're talking about girls, where people get so used to boldness only looking a certain way, people don't understand what boldness can be matched with meekness, where there's strength under control, because we aren't just boisterous or passionate. We can also be sober and be quiet and humble. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I like to say that I'm a student of life. And when you're in a room with people like yourself and some of our other friends who are in that room, right? There's so much to learn. You don't want to miss it.
Yes,
I have a lot to teach, but I have more to learn.
that's
you
it.
know so I try to like hold on to that, and I like to be a student of life, and I realize I the Lord has done a really good job of placing me around women who are iron, like real iron, iron sharpening iron, like seriously. And so I try to be careful and sensitive to that. This is my time to be sharpened, because I sharpen so much. Like I'm always sharpening. And so when I sit in a room with women, especially women who may be just a little bit older than me in some way, it's like this is fun. I can sit here and be taught. So I don't want to miss it. I don't want to miss it by sharing something that may be, it could be valuable information. But I think knowing like time, being sensitive to time in the moment and who you're around is very, I think a lot of people, when they get in certain spaces, I just say this, they think it's necessary for them to show up in a way. They need to talk, they need to try to prove who they are.
Yes.
But the humility the Lord has given me, I want to be a student. Every chance I get, I want to be a student. Yeah.
When you spoke about this whole idea of iron sharpening iron, I recently heard Keon Henderson talking about that whole idea and how the Saints, they get excited about, like, no, we got to iron sharpen iron. But if you think about in so many settings, like even this whole idea of having to go into environments and conform or only find agreement, what I can say was that was different about the environment that I met you in is we challenged each other, we
Hmm.
pushed each other, we had different sides of the coin, so to speak. And that's real iron sharpening iron, because if you think about
Yeah.
something sharpening, take a pencil. He talked about how if you put a pencil in a pencil sharpener, you have to lose parts of your paradigm or your perspective, and that doesn't always feel good. But I do believe that some of the best friendships are forged not just when there's agreement, but when there is challenge and there is tension rubbing against tension that makes you sharper. And so I don't know. I just wanted to give you space to kind of lean into that, because I do feel like so many women and men miss out on friendships that I do believe were kingdomly aligned, because they don't find an echo chamber of being a yes man. And
Hmm.
I don't want everybody to agreement with me. I want you to give me something that I don't have in perspective.
I'll tell you this, Jackie. Women, particularly women who are believers, right? I think it's so important for us to realize that God is always preparing us for what is next. He's always preparing us. And oftentimes, wherever your deficit is, wherever you feel inadequate, whatever you need, God will send it to you through people. He is not a God of lack, right?
Right?
And sometimes we feel like we're missing certain things. We don't have the resources, the relationships, and whatever. God will send it to us. But what the enemy does is he twists it to make us feel intimidated by the growth that is upon us, if that makes any sense. And
So true.
that growth could look like using your insecurity of not feeling pretty enough. And because Jackie or Trinity is so pretty, I don't want, like, I'm intimidated. I don't know if I want to. They're well spoken. I don't speak that well, so I don't know. So we get intimidated by the elevation that God has brought us, but that's not God's mission. God is not trying to expose us to better to make us better. He literally wants to make you better, but you have to place your insecurities where they belong, which is on the back burner, so that you
Woo!
can elevate. You know what I mean?
I think you already into some good stuff, girl.
Yeah, I think that's my little if I had a life hack, girl, I lean into everybody that I feel like got an efficiency where I have a deficit.
I do feel like that takes a measure of what I like to call permission. So
Mm.
I talk to women all around the world about embracing this fullness and this precision, this specificity that God has made you with, but not just saying like, I know that I'm uniquely Trinity, but I'm going to be every facet from season to season that God has created me to be. So not only do I have the ability to personal train, but I also have the ability to be a podcaster. I have the ability to be not just a mom, but a good mom to my little baby BJ. And
Yeah.
I can be a great wife to Brandon. I just feel like so many people are leaving on the table parts of themselves because maybe, I don't know, they only know me as a singer, they only know me this way, and so we're so afraid because of people pleasing or maybe the trauma of somebody saying we can't do it or can't be it, that they push aside embracing all of who God has created them to be. And that to me is a woman walking in permission. I would have to say about you, Trinity, that I feel that you have that, you have permission. Would you say that that has always been the case, or can you tell me about how you gain the permission to live fully as who God has made you as Trinity Mitchell?
I had a revelation to happen to me during a hosting event. I was hosting a conference, and
Okay.
I was backstage, of course, because I was hosting. So, you know, we got you used to all of this. So there's black curtains that got everything shut off, and only so many people can come in, particularly people who have a certain badge, right?
Okay.
And so during the conference, there was a lady who had a VIP badge, and so she was accessing that space all day long. I had seen her backstage. I had seen her moving about and all of the things. Um, and we had a break. We had an intermission, and for some reason during that time, the curtains closed, the security guard went out. And once the security guard went out, she still had her badge on. Check this out. This is the revelation God gave me in this moment. She still had her badge on, but when she approached the security guard, she asked him, could she come in?
Woo!
This is the revelation on permission. Listen, this happened to me about 2 years ago. And so I step out because I'm hearing the exchange, and I'm like, I've been seeing her, so let me go get in their business, you know. So I go over there, get in her business, and I'm like, what's going on? The security guard was like, they said nobody's was supposed to be here. I said, don't you have a badge? She looked down at her badge. I said, well, if you already have access, why are you asking him for permission to a room you already had access to? If
My
you had just
God.
walked in here, he wouldn't even question you. But because you approached him asking, can you come in? He said no. And the revelation the Lord gave me is stop asking people for permission into the rooms I've already given you space to, I've already given you the grace to operate in. You know what I mean? And you got spirits, you got people who battling with those spirits who would never give you permission. But once you realize that God has graced you to operate in that space, take it up and don't stop and ask people, is it okay if I talk about friendship? Just do it. Like whatever it is it okay if I be a wife, a mom, and a businesswoman? Just do it. Don't ask for permission. Once God shows you that you have the badge, take territory.
I love that. I love it. I love it because you echo the exact way permission was birthed. The Lord told me, because I used to go in rooms always asking for people permission. Can I wear my side shave? Can I laugh as loud as I laugh? Can I be as fiery as I am? Can I be smart but also swaggy? Like, is it okay, God? And the Lord told me humans, they can't give you authority. Our authority and even permission has already been given by me. So stop doing the same thing with people that I've already given you. And so I love to hear you echo that. But one thing that I will say that is so important to me with the movement of permission is I don't want somebody watching this. It's like, I want to take up space in rooms. I want to be able to, chart this unknown territory, but I need to understand how you went from the place of asking the question to feeling like, no, I don't have to ask anymore. I know I have the badge on. How did you come to realize you had the badge? How did you come to say, I'm not going to ask for permission to talk about friend fusion? Was that through relationship or more time with the Lord? What specifically led you to the point where you recognized the badge was on your chest?
That's a really good question, Jackie. That's a really good question. And I hate for this to turn, because I know we're going to talk about Mean Girls, but I hate for this to turn so fast. But to be honest with you, it was how I knew I had the badge, where when people who had more than me, a bigger platform than me, more access than me, a bigger name than me, start to be intimidated by me.
Okay.
That was the sign that I had the badge. And
Okay.
and the thing is, what flipped for me was they're seeing something I'm not seeing. I need to wake up. I need to seek God about what I'm really carrying, because there's no way that I don't have gold. You know what I mean? There's no way that there's not just an authentic oil in my presence that makes, you know what I mean? And so I had to really wake up. I'm like, if they feel some kind of way about me, I might got the juice, you know? And
I like that.
that's my truth. That's my truth. And I started walking in it. Um, I say this. I sought God, and for a long time, I was really struggling with friendship and relationship at large. To be very honest with you, I had some issues, and I had to take some time. Um, I won't say in isolation, but I will say, I feel like the Lord pulled me away. I had to steal away. And I started to write a lot and share a lot of my thoughts with him in terms of just friending. And when God became my greatest friend, when I prioritized my friendship with God, my life has just continuously changed. And I'm so grateful. And from that moment on, I used to share some little memes because I was scared to talk on camera. Like I was terrified. I was terrified to talk on camera because I'm a country girl. I'm right here in Mississippi, so it's I'm gonna always and stutter or something, right? And so, speaking of being in Mississippi, flies, help Holy Ghost. Um, but so I was terrified of speaking, and I would share these memes about friendship, and the memes started getting some traction. I had, maybe like 2 or 3 thousand followers at the time, Jackie. But the memes started getting some traction. In a few months after me and God had gone on this friendship journey, He gave me permission to speak, like to actually speak, and
Wow.
I did it slowly, but I did it. Like, you know what I mean? And so,
You
yeah,
did the thing.
yeah, the rest is
And
history.
I
Yeah.
love that you speak about the whole speaking thing and even doing it afraid or and stepping out slowly. One of the things people are always asked, like, what would be your biggest advice to somebody dealing with fear or stepping out is to just step, get started, try it. One of the things I love to tell people all the time is you can do hard stuff and it isn't always going to come easy or natural. People won't understand, oh my God, my journey would, but just because I'm so about authenticity, being on camera it felt very robotic and not natural for me. You put me with people all day long. We can talk, but a camera, it was such a stumbling block. But I couldn't allow what seemed hard in a moment to stifle me from the actual call that I had because through a camera, I could reach more people. And the Lord just kept telling, keep striking, keep striking. And that's what I heard in your story so much. So very grateful that women get to hear that you weren't always a podcaster on Friend Fusion, having interviews or totally even embracing your own voice and your own vernacular and your own flavor. So I think that encourages other women that might have some of those similar things like you and I being country girls to say like, it might not be perfect and pretty, but our voice and our cadence is tailor made for a group of people that would not be spoken to or nourished without it. So I commend you for doing it anyway. So thank you for that. You talk a lot about in the whole space of friendship, this whole idea of being a mean girl first and
Yeah.
coming to understand that you're a mean girl out of these insecurities that you talked about earlier. Give me some insight to Mean Girls. What was that all about for you?
Hey, I'm shooting a video for my wife. Now I need to call you back, Mom. No, the video is about permission. Permission to live free. Permission to get your joy. Permission to find community. Permission to get exclusive content. Ladies and gentlemen, this is very important. Call you back, Mama. Download the app, search Dr. Jackie Greene to get all things permission. It's about to go down. Next year, we got conference. You know what? I'm not even gonna tell you everything that's happening. You gotta go and find out. Be a part of this fast-growing, life-giving community, and I promise you'll never be the same. I love you. This is endorsed by myself and my mama. Be blessed.
Okay, so I told you I would walk in rooms and I'm like, why are they feeling some kind of way about me? I didn't know I had the badge. And so I had some experiences. I had some experiences when I didn't know I had the badge of just, just contentment. Um, really honestly a projection of other people's insecurities, things that have nothing to do with me, what's going on in their life, but
Okay.
for whatever reason, I could be like triggering it or like, like whatever it is. And so that kind of started it. I was actually expressing to Brandon my transgressions with a certain individual. I'm like, I don't know why she's being so mean to me. As kind as I've been, as faithful as I've been, I've
Talk
like
about it.
shown up, all the things, right? And I'm not playing victim. I'm not. I'm at this point. I'm really like living in my. I'm with the Holy Ghost, Jackie. Okay,
Okay.
and he got my self awareness turned up. So
Okay.
I'm not even like playing victim in the moment, but I was sharing with Brandon how it was just so distasteful, discouraging, and I'm just ruminating. I'm just going through the details. I'm upset, girl. I'm not feeling well. In that moment of frustration, I just got quiet and I decided to pray. I'm just like, God, because me talking about it ain't changing it. Like they still, when I finish, they still gonna feel how they feel about me. They ain't gonna like me. So I'm just gonna consume my day, my space, my energy with theirs. You know what I mean? So I just began to pray and ask God for help me with forgiveness, to help me be patient. My mama taught me this. I love to say my mama is still raising me. She's such a good mom. She's a good guide. But she always tells me to send your compassion where you don't want to go. So if you experience people who are really broken and all of the things, send compassion, and then you won't have to go, if that makes any sense. And so I'm trying to exercise with my mama the advice my mom has given me, and I just hear the Holy Spirit say, the mean girl manual. And I said, ain't no way you give me this problem to solve. ain't ain't no way. Cause what? You know what I mean? And so I immediately knew then that I had a problem to solve. That this wasn't
Woo.
happenstance. That I wasn't just experiencing this with this person because they didn't like me. No, it was so much deeper. It was spiritual. It
Purpose.
was God was using this situation to speak to me. And I'll say this since we're here, a lot of women, girl, too many times we talk about people and what they did to us too much. We just need to, what the Holy Spirit recently gave me? Leverage the lesson.
Wow. That's so good.
Leverage, stop talking about what they did, what they said, how they moved. Yes, it's valid. Yes, how you feel, all of that. But you have to stop talking about what they did and focus on this this situation is bringing you to learn. What are you learning from it? And so I started writing about what I had learned from these encounters. It's like the Holy Spirit flipped my perspective on it. Like, you got to stop talking about what they did. It may be true, but you got to leverage the lesson. And Jackie, let me just tell you, I wrote the Mean Girl Manual June something. I don't even know, June. We released it in January of that year. BJ was born in March. The Mean Girl Manual took off so crazy. Jackie, I didn't even return to work after BJ.
Come on here.
So the very thing that it felt devastating to me was God's development of me. You know what I mean? You see what I'm saying? I was so hurt and frustrated that day when I was sharing that with Brandon. Like, she just mean, this just happened, and something was going on with another friend of mine. We had a breakup, and like, and it really was like, no, the issue I would have a lot of times is like, there's no reason. I need reason. And I just had to, I really had to leverage the lesson. And one of the greatest lessons I've learned is, it's not about necessarily what is in somebody else's heart. It's not necessarily about what somebody else got going on. Because sometimes God will allow us to experience certain things so he can expose what's in your heart.
It's
So
so true.
yeah. So
Let's
even when I
pause right
started,
there though, because we like to talk so much about what they did. The question is, why
hmm
did you feel that? Like, why did it make you feel that way? Why did it take you down so much? And we
yeah.
don't do the self assessment from the lesson that we can gain from the thing. So, oh
hmm
man, that was so good. You talk a lot about in that whole mean girl idea, which I feel like it took off so much because so many women have experienced it. Like, without just cause, we have been unfairly treated. I
hmm
will also insert, we have sometimes been the bearers of that of that wrong treatment. So
Absolutely.
what I want to ask is a real reality. Is
hmm
it okay that some people don't like us? Like, how do we manage and handle that level of rejection many times when it's without cause?
I just told my husband the other day, I'm about to strengthen my relationship with rejection.
Okay.
I
Okay.
want I
Okay.
want a healthy relationship with rejection, because I realize that a lot of people just don't have a good relationship with rejection, and because of that you put your eyes on people rather than the path that God actually has for you. And sometimes people just aren't on that path. They just don't align with what God has for you. And that's why it doesn't make sense. Like, it doesn't make sense because it doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? This relationship does not make sense. And that's why it doesn't make sense for you. It does not align with you and the path that God has you on. And I've stopped trying to chase people who do not choose me. That all of
Woo!
that is divinely orchestrated. Like, all of that is divinely orchestrated. So I know that I mean well, Jackie. I know that I'm me. You ain't finna get nothing else. You gonna get me stuttering. You gonna get me holler laughing. You gonna, you gonna get me clocking a little T. But
I love it.
I am who I am. I'm not doing anything. I'm not intentionally. I say that I won't intentionally hurt anybody. And so when people don't like me, it really is okay. It's okay. And that's what made us put me and Brandon came up with the last part of that book, the Mean Girl Manual. She don't like you. That's okay. And but that's because he kept telling me it's okay, baby. Like, it's okay. Men tend to be a little bit more practical than us. Um, yeah, yeah. And so yeah, that's where it came from. And I'm like, you know what? It really is okay, because at the end of the day, what has anybody ever not liking me kept me from accomplishing?
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah.
But you know, when I think about that question, Trinity, I do believe for many it's caused them not to accomplish a lot. So I
Mhm.
think that that's why it's so important to have people that have forged a pathway to say, we're not going to let this stop us. Getting that Mean Girl Manual in your hand could help equip a girl that is being stifled and paralyzed. I can even
Mhm.
say for myself, if I would say that there has been one thing that has been truly damaging to me, it was people's lack of voter confidence in me, or
Mhm.
not feeling like they had my back or supporting me, or just not, to your point, downright being mean. What I've
Yeah.
had to learn is beyond it. I had to step beyond it to understand that people can't give you what they don't have. Many times people cannot love you well because they don't love themselves well. They can't be a
Mm-mm.
friend to you well because they're not a good friend to themselves. And
No.
so let's talk about that. What does it look like to be a good friend to you? Because we talk so much about our horizontal relationships with people, but I do believe it starts vertical with God and then with yourself. What does it mean to you to be a good friend to you?
I tell you, to be a good friend to yourself, I think it is asking God to give you self-awareness. I feel like as believers, a lot of people are praying for God to reveal the intentions and hearts of everybody else, but we do not pray for God to search my heart. And I wish that we would, some things we don't want to take from David, but we need to take that. God, search my heart. Like, show me. I had some raggedy friends, Jackie, in my past. I had some fake friends and all that. But let's not be remiss. I was also raggedy and fake. You know, when I came into contact with people like Jackie's in the world, when I started practicing self awareness, when I started apologizing, it changed me. Like, when I started taking accountability for how I show up, when I started being empathetic of other people's feelings, not just, oh, I used to be like, oh, it's the truth. Well, it's the truth. I said it. It's the truth. But was that necessary for you to say, or did you have to weaponize the truth in that way? And so, yeah, it's really changed. It's changed my friend circle so much. Like, I have like really good quality people in my life, but I think it started with me making a decision that I was going to be quality. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
yes, 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 yes. And I feel like it reminds me, number one of the verse, like you're supposed to speak the truth in love, number one. But
Hmm.
even the verse that talks about how bad company can corrupt good character, you're
Yeah.
now speaking about what do you say back to what can good company do? You know, we can talk all day about like, oh my God, these raggedy friends and how it brought me down and what it took from me. But I can only speak from my vantage point, having trinities in my life, and I could go on and on. I'm not, because I don't want any of my homegirls to feel left out.
Yeah.
But having women that weren't afraid to walk in the fullness of who God created them, people that
Hmm.
affirmed me, that spoke well of me, that would say beautiful things. I have a best friend that she has this rule with us that if you think something good about me, you better call me or you better text me. And we
I
live by
love
that.
that.
And yeah, like I just feel like good company can bring way more than bad company has also brought. Talk to me about what good company has done for you.
Good company has changed the trajectory of my life.
Ooh.
You understand? Good company has kept me married.
Ooh. Come on here.
Good company has made me believe in myself. Good company has literally made me believe in myself. It was my friends. who was like, yeah, you need to start talking. That stuff is good. You need to hone in on this. Oh, friend, your content good, but you ain't gotta post all that stuttering. Cut that out your video so people can get to the point. Like, get to the point. You know what I'm saying? Stay focused on the main thing in your messaging. Um, Man, I'm serious. Like, my friends have been the people who I know. I think it's in Mark where the paralyzed man has those four friends.
That would carry him to the rooftop. Do what must be true for his healing and wholeness. Jesus, girl, you just hit my heart on that one.
Girl, a lot of people have friends that don't mind seeing them in a paralytic condition. And that's the thing. That's the thing. You gotta shake that. I lean into people. I'm connected to a lot of people. But for real, I lean into the people who like call me on my stuff, carry me, sharpen me. Because those are the people who lead you to the feet of Jesus. Those are the people who lead you to the best success. Like, it don't get no better than getting to the feet of Jesus, right? And so just think of, if you just could use that story to, like, whatever your success point is, ultimately it's Jesus, but whatever your success point, if you want it to be $1 billion business, if you want to be the next Amazon, if you want to be the next YouTube, if you want to be the next show, like you got a Shannon Sharp show with what's the comedian? You want to have that kind of success though, Cat Williams. So you want to be that, whatever it is, right? You want that kind of impact. You gotta get around people who get uncomfortable when you comfortable. Like, they get annoyed with you. And so yeah, good company has just changed my life. I think for a long time I didn't necessarily have bad company, but I had comfortable company. Really comfortable. Everybody's comfortable. I was a teacher. I
That's
made
it.
Yeah.
Trinity,
Eh,
I gotta pause right there because
yeah.
I don't think that people understand how dangerous comfortability is to fulfilling the fullness of your purpose. Comfortability in, like, I had the trophy from 1998, or I'm good. I know I'm good at podcasting now, so you just settle for the box that you found comfort in, rather than I'm gonna have to step into some moments of unknown. I'm gonna have to step into some stuff that I don't know if I got it, but I believe that Jesus got it with me. That level of uncomfortability unlocks levels of success, to your point, that you never find just chilling with a homegirl that's fine. Like, girl, let's just do this because we've always been doing this. And so, my God, I'm grateful that you brought that to the table. It's so necessary to live outside of those spaces.
Mm-hmm.
We have a executive pastor here. When you were talking about these quality friendships, that you're not gonna have 100 of those. You might have a few, and he names them 5% friends. And I'm telling everybody about this because I love the language. He said that 95% of who you are, you'll share with anybody, but there's only 5% that you'll only share with just a few people. And I want to say to those that are watching or listening that you're not going to have 100 people that you're going to give that last 5% to, but you got to find that good company. You got to find that quality where you feel safe, like Trinity talked about, to uncover yourself, to be sharpened, to be everything that God has called you to be, to where they'll pull you out of the comfortability of old, to be able to step into the newness that God is calling you to. So yes, ma'am, to quality friendships and being a friend to yourself. You also not only hang your hat on this whole idea of friendship, but you're somewhat of a new mommy. Your baby is only 1 year old, and you are all the way leaned into the space of motherhood. And you recently shared about your son being diagnosed with sickle cell. How do you navigate those life unexpectancies with faith and with the expectation for God to do good in that regard? How do you do that? Because there's other women that are dealing with the diagnosis of autism. My son was diagnosed with ADHD. It's just so many diagnoses. I will say, just for my people out here, I'm big about confession. They can diagnose something. I don't say that my son has something. That's a really big thing for me personally. So I just wanted to know how you're navigating in that regard.
It's so funny you said that, because when people talk to me about BJ's condition, I say, well, BJ said diagnosis. It said
Love
diagnosis.
that.
Um, I just believe okay, so I'll be very honest with you to answer your question. First I cry, then I fight.
Come on. Tell the truth on this
But yeah,
podcast.
cause I don't want to hear that. Don't tell me that my baby got a life
Nothing.
altering condition, and then, like, yeah, it hurt. It really hurt. It was, and then I think the way it was told to me, which I recently shared on my mom rant, the way it was told to me, it was real. It lacked empathy, lacked tact. It was just real. So it was that, and then I think with sitting with the reality of what my cousins have been through, like my close family members, and how it has really affected their health, and how, it's really it's been something that my family has dealt with. But you like when it's your first cousins, or like when it's, somebody else kids or whatever, it don't hit the same. It just does not. And so that being said, um sitting with the reality of it, it hurt first. It hurt really bad. It was extremely painful. Brandon and I, we had a rough couple of days. But my faith, one thing with my faith is it's gonna remind me of who I serve.
Yes.
And I realized that we
Yes.
were crying about something that had not happened.
Oh,
And a lot of us, I don't know why, they just stuck in my spirit. I'm sorry for hologram.
girl, that
Listen,
hit me.
a lot of us are being tormented by something that ain't even happened. And that's how fear is. And that's what the Lord wants us to remember today. 2 Timothy 1:7. Since we here, I didn't mean to preach. I ain't got
Go
my Bible.
ahead. Preach.
God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. And when you start seeing yourself operate from a place of fear, you're not operating from the spirit of God. You are operating from I don't want to say a demonic place, but you're operating outside of the way that God has ordained for you to operate. It does not belong to you. And so, with that being said, it just clicked for me. Like, we're crying about something that ain't even happened. We gotta, BJ can't pray. He don't know nothing about a God. And my mom used to tell me this when we were younger. She used to say, I used to ask her questions about things. At that point, I just couldn't understand. She would say, "I'm your God." But and that sounds crazy, but what she was saying is, until you come to know him for yourself, I'm going to be your guide, right? So it clicked for me that we had to stand in the gap. I don't got time to be crying. Like, this is my baby. I don't got time to be doing what I'm doing. I can't operate in a spirit of fear when I got to be somebody else's guide. Fear leaves me uncertain. I can't operate in curiosity. I need to be certain. And wherever I can't be certain, I can trust God to meet me there. But I can't sit here and cry about a diagnosis. And just because of the diagnosis doesn't mean that's my baby's destiny.
Sure.
And so I flipped my perspective. We flipped our perspective, and the rest is history. BJ has been well. He takes his penicillin twice a day. He takes hydroxyurea once a day. We believe God for a divine transplant, and we
In
speak that over
Jesus'
him
name.
every single day. I keep my oil. One time, we without 100% sure, but it felt like he had it seemed that he was having a pain crisis, and I really
Mm.
didn't know what to do in the moment, because it just felt like he was screaming, he was crying. It was a lie. I really know what to do, because now Mama about to scream and cry. But it clicked again, Jackie. You don't got time to scream and cry. I grabbed my oil and I started saying Jesus, and he went on to sleep.
What you speak about, Trinity, you speak about a life lived with the Lord, because you don't know to grab your oil. You don't know to go to prayer if that's not something you're living. And I think so often, I would tell girls, even when I was in dental school, I went through a traumatic situation where the life of my first son was, really literally hung in the balance of, would he make it? They literally said I had a 50% chance of going to sleep and waking back up after a procedure and him not being there. Crazy enough, God had been preparing me on the backside of even coming to know that I was going to be pregnant with this baby. We would be in these Bible studies when I was in dental school, and I would tell these girls, if you don't learn faith with tests, like just us preparing for different practicals and exams, if you don't learn to trust him here, I literally used to say this: what are you going to do when it's your son or your daughter's life on the line and you need a faith that you have not cultivated? And I just feel like so often the God that prepares us, that's ahead of us and behind us, he knows that you're going to have BJ. He knows what is going to come to be in his future. And he's prepared his mother with specificity and design to have the understanding of what the oil does when you anoint them with oil, of what prayer does when the prayers of the righteous will avail much. And I too have grabbed that oil and anointed my son in times where his behavior was out of hand, or they were speaking things that I felt that were contrary to what the Father said about him. You don't know how God, in a moment where you'll trust him in faith, where medicine hasn't done it, and even the doctors who practice medicine haven't been able to do it. When the doctor said no, there was a God that doesn't practice anything. The great physician, he said that this son shall live and live with no remnants of prematurity, that I had to know him, Trinity, that in a moment where I needed to trust him, I knew the God that I was going to have to trust. I'm just grateful that I hear in your story, a story told about a God that you knew by way of prayer, that you knew by way of even using the oil for your own life, that in a moment where you needed it for BJ, you had it as a tool. And I can just speak from knowing you just a little amount of time I have. You are a woman of prayer. You actually wrote basically a manual for postpartum prayers for women that were going through postpartum depression. And that whole heart to intercede doesn't just arrive out of nowhere. I kind of want to know what was in your heart and going on in that moment where the birthing of postpartum prayers came to be. What happened for you that morning at 3 a.m. when that was birthed?
Girl.
Okay, ladies, I know this conversation is amazing, but I had to pause to explain why I say we don't do surface here. With this podcast, I know this conversation, you'll gain principles and nuggets and all the amazing stuff. But what good is that if you don't have a community to live that out in? I wanted to invite you to a space called the Permission app that I have created just for you and girls like you that don't want to just get free, but remain free. In the Permission app, you will be the first to gain access to these Permission Talk episodes, but also gain true sisterhood, where you'll be able to grow in deeper fellowship and faith with other sisters that are trying to live a like-minded lifestyle. I want you to jump in the Permission app, where you'll be able to gain daily devotionals, exclusive content with myself, and so much more. I want you to go right now to the description box below, where you can find the link to jump in Permission app. I know this, that your life will never be the same. Let's jump back into this conversation.
Girl, so I wasn't a prayer warrior like that. I gotta be honest, right? I told you God has strategically placed me around iron, right? So about 5 years ago, I started working for this prayer ministry.
Come on here.
I started working for a prayer ministry as the fitness
He'll prepare
pastor.
you.
Listen, he will prepare you. I started working for a prayer ministry as the fitness pastor at Warrior Nation for Dr. Kelly Ogueze. I know a lot of people watching probably know who she is, right? And
Okay.
so being around Pastor Kelly, we had the staff. She had a morning video at 6. The staff had prayer at 4.
Hey.
We had 4 a.m. prayer. We prepared for the video at 5. And then at 6 o'clock we was on. And we did we st- she already had a staple 4 a.m. prayer long before I got to the ministry. But so growth change, it had stopped, and she started it back. The Holy Spirit told her to start it back, and so it was mandatory for the staff, and we started prayer about two let me tell you this, about 2 months before COVID. No, I was not even the 2019, before 2020 hit. None of us had COVID. Nobody parents, nobody's family, none of us that would participate in 4 a.m. prayer, ain't none of us experienced the the things of COVID. None of us. And so long story made short, my prayer life really grew while working for Warrior Nation. I'm just being honest with you. That is the power of being around people. It anybody, which is why you need to be careful about who you're around, right? But so that overflowed into my life, and I don't know. It's like I be praying, not even realizing I'm praying. I was on the Stairmaster today praying. I don't even realize I'm praying. But that came from being at a part of Warrior Nation, and so this particular night when BJ was crying out for help, he's a new baby. He's getting used to the world. I'm getting used to motherhood. This is ghetto. Okay. I'm like, I just went to sleep. And I'm feeling annoyed. I'm feeling annoyed. Like I ain't even got to the rims and I gotta get right back up, right? And I didn't want to go over to him and make him feel as if he was a nuisance, or like he was being a distraction to my life, or like I never wanted my babies to feel like that, right? So before I get up to go to him, I'm feeling all the irritation, all the annoying things. I'm just feeling it, and I just stopped because I realized he's more important than how I feel. And so I stopped and I started praying, and I asked God for grace to help me to take care of my baby with love and kindness, and be well to him. I don't even want him to feel like he not wanted. It's just not possible. So not in my book. He always gonna know he wanted. And so long story made short, I started to pray. I got BJ served, got him back to sleep. And when I hit the pillow, I heard postpartum prayers, another problem to solve. Again, sometimes God presents us with these things so that we can be the person who solves the problem. If that makes any sense. So yeah.
That is so, so beautiful. I
Hmm.
want you to just in a moment, it might be something specifically out of that postpartum prayers. But there are new mommies watching. You've only been a mom for 1 year that might be tired. You know, they might hear us talking about like you should pray or grow your prayer life. And she like, girl, I just want some sleep. And she might feel distant right now. What would
Hmm.
you say to the new mom that's a little weary, a little tired in this moment to encourage her?
Look at me.
I love it. I love it. Yes.
I would say to her that you're a child too.
Ooh.
And I think a lot of times I was praying one night and
Wow.
the Holy Spirit reminded me in prayer that I'm a child too. I'm a dependent too.
Yes.
And I've gotten so caught up in motherhood. I've gotten so caught up in serving. I've got so caught up in being my husband's wife still. And all these things. I got so caught up in friends time, always time me film for infusion. I need to lose weight. I need to do this. I got so caught up in all this stuff that I forgot that I'm a child too. Right. And so I prayed and I asked God, I said, God, I know that I'm somebody's parent. I get it. But would you remind me that it's safe to be your child too? That I can come to you, but I can be vulnerable. I can cry. And as I'm wiping BJ tears, you'll wipe my tears. As I provide my baby with whatever grace, strength you provide me with. Like, I don't have to run out of anything because I'm giving out, because I'm pouring. I don't have to run out because you are not a God of lack. You have more than enough. And just because I'm faced with all of these adult challenges where I'm running a business and I got orders and I got responsibilities does not mean I'm no longer a dependent. And so I didn't want to get so caught up in working for God and striving and doing all these things that I don't spend time with God. And that's what postpartum prayers is really all about. It's to remind you that you're just a girl. You're just a girl, you know? And I think sometimes we forget that, but it's safe to be like that with God. You don't have to come with all of your hats. You can just come.
You can just come. Man,
Yeah.
that resonates so deep with me. I remember the day that I took the Superwoman cape off. I
Hmm.
remember I was sitting in my baby's rocking chair, and the thing that the Lord dropped with me, and it became a Devo book, was the
Hmm.
Lord told me that was so often, Trinity, we pray to start, but we don't pray to stay. I was
Ooh.
exhausted. I was wore out. I was in a new season and I didn't even understand how to basically get my rhythm back, get my fire back. And I don't think that people understand how easy it is when you understand that you're a child too, that you can just ask him, Daddy,
Hmm.
draw me again,
Hmm.
increase my hunger again. Help me not just start in January, but stay all the way through June. And then from
Hmm.
June all the way to December. Help
Hmm.
me remain with you, not just for a little while, but I want to remain in a way that I'll bear fruit, and not just fruit, but much fruit, and fruit that will last. And so that literally birthed the Devo book for me in a
Mm.
moment where I'm sitting with my baby, brand new. I got tears in my eyes. I was like, God, I need a new prayer. He said, you've been praying the wrong thing. He said, don't pray to start, pray to stay. As long as you
Mm.
stay connected to me, as long as you stay dependent on me, you'll find absolutely everything you need. And so that's a word for anybody that's a little weary out there. Just get close to him, not for any reason. You don't have to strive. You don't have to get it all together. You don't have to get it all right. He just wants to be with you. He wants to live life with you. And I do
Mhm.
pray that you get postpartum prayers. If you're a new mommy and you're struggling, you don't have the language, I believe that picking up that book will just give you language and even give you ability to feel seen, to know that you're not in this alone, to help you along on your journey. Trinity, I'm not gonna hold you too long. I did want to ask you the question before we wrap up that I ask all my guests. What would you say that God is giving you permission to do in this particular season?
Okay, Jackie, I got to piggyback because I think when we say child, when we say we're still God's children. We're still with everything else. We're still the child. Be bold. You know how our kids come to us with these bold things. I want a PlayStation 5. I want a Lamborghini. I want when you ask God for something in prayer, have the expectation of a child that your parent will deliver.
Ooh,
It's always
so
Christmas
good.
time with God. It's
Come on
it's
here.
always okay. You don't have to wait till income tax season. I know what your childhood was like. But God does not have an income tax season. You can trust him for it now.
And you keep saying this that I feel like they need to write in bold in their journal because it's been echoing so loud. God is not a God of lack. You said that like 3 or 4 times,
He
and it
really
has just
not.
been resonating in my heart. Just for them to take that in. So many
Mm-hmm.
times we come afraid because we're like, I don't know, I'm not sure if he got it. He walks on gold,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
literally walks on gold. So I just wanted to echo that as well before you keep on going with any other final thoughts you got.
And since we've been talking about friendship, motherhood, and all things, he not got a lack. I'm not talking about monetary. He not like you. He'll give you another friend. He'll give you
Yes,
another
he will.
husband.
Yes,
He'll
he
give you
will.
another job. He'll give you another idea. But anyway, it's just good to know Jesus.
It is. It is. It
uh,
is. Tell the people what he's doing in this season. What has he given you permission to do?
I feel like God has given me permission to do. I feel like God has given me permission. What is God giving me? I feel like God has given me permission to own it.
Ooh, that right there hit.
I
Tell
really
them
feel
what
like,
that means to you.
yeah. And when I say own it, like own that I got a badge, because sometimes I still struggle with it. That's why God gave me that revelation in that moment, like to own it. For years in my childhood, throughout even my adulthood, I've always, my mom was, you be humble, you be humble, and I think in some sense, while that's great and that's beautiful, I struggle with, I struggle I struggle with owning the fullness of who I am because I don't want to I don't want people to perceive me as not humble. If that makes any sense. I don't want that to be the perception. But I think as I'm growing and I'm evolving, I realize that that ain't my business. Like that's like, their perception is not my business. I really need to own it, and I need to take it and run with it. Like I need to own it. Like I am in fact that girl. I am blessed and called into these spaces. And the thing about it is, I'm an educator by trade. I'm a music teacher, right? I've been a music director. I've served at church as a music director and all these things. So it feels like what I'm doing in this media space is just foreign to who I am. You know what I mean? But the Holy Spirit reminded me recently that I don't have to fit in to thrive in. And so
Okay, that's so good.
yeah, so it's time for me to like own it. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. And I pray that even them listening to our conversation, owning the uniqueness of our quirks and
Hmm.
specifically how God has made us, that it would give the courage to another woman out there to do the exact same thing. I've heard that be a testimony so many times that Dr. Jackie is, I've seen you just be a country girl from Georgia, not get the words perfect, be a dentist, but also, I don't know, wild out too. It
Yeah.
made me and gave me the courage to do the same thing. I found the same thing as I met Trinity. Like, I can be like that girl right there. I can own it. I can speak it real. I can laugh loud. I can smile big. I can have a banging body. All of it.
Yeah.
Trinity, tell us. You give us a little tip. You a trained there. A trained trainer. You a trained
Yeah.
trainer.
Uh-huh.
Yes. You got to give us some tips, girl. How do we keep it together in the summer?
Yeah, so the tip is to cut out the processed food. Throw away your snacks. Process equals packaging. Throw out. I'm gonna tell you. I know you don't want to hear it, but throw out your protein bars. Throw out your protein bars. Throw out. It has so much unnecessary sugar. Throw away your favorite treats. Throw away everything in your cabinet that you keep and you just grab and you just eat. That's why you got a gut. But if you want to strut this summer, I want you to get rid of all the packaged foods, increase your water intake, and just keep moving. I think a lot of people, you may look on people's pages, even my page, and you see these women in the gym and all that. It can be intimidating when you're not like, you don't even know where to start if you walk in there. But we underestimate the power of just moving. Get up and go for a walk. Instead of just sleeping on your couch when you get off work. I know it's challenging, but intentionally add time in for a walk. Just really that's about being a good friend to yourself, taking care of your body, taking care of your mind, taking care of your soul. Like that's how you really become a good friend to yourself. And once you start to be a good friend to yourself, you start to reap the fruit of that in your life. And before you know it, you just got all this beautiful fruit, tasty, ripe fruit around you and people. You know what I'm saying? It just comes to you. So, even if you're, because I know a lot of times as women, We want our friends to be fitness girlies too or own it. Just do it. Just stop trying to get people to go on your journey. This is personal. When you start fixing your diet, getting into exercising and stuff, it's very personal, and you can't expect people to be on the same type of wavelength and when they're not ready, you know.
Totally true. And I would say the same thing that I said as we're stepping into purpose. A part of our purpose is stewarding this temple well. For me, it wasn't like I probably ain't in the gym like Trinity's in the gym, but I get my 3 days at least of working out. I done added Pilates to the equation. I'm taking care of what I'm eating. I'm putting away the packaged food. So start somewhere. That's what I would say to anybody watching. And you'll be amazed at the results that you'll see. Trinity, thank you so much for taking the time to pour. Girl, this was so fruitful, so edifying. What I'll say to those of you that are watching as we focus on friendship for this particular month, Proverbs 17:17 says it specifically like this: a friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for times of adversity. I want you to ask yourself a question, whether it's you writing it in your phone or you getting a journal out as you pause and reflect on this conversation. Number one, are you a good friend to you? And number two, have you found the right friends to walk you forward into your destiny? If the answer to one of those two things are not yes, make sure you grab some of these different resources that we've talked about to walk you forward in your journey of friendship. Number one, with the Lord, but number two, with yourself. I want to see you live in a life of wholeness because of good friendships. All right. I love y'all. Thank y'all for joining this podcast. Trinity, thank you again for being with me and as my guest. I love you so, so much, sis. And I'll see
I
y'all
love you
soon.
too. Bye,
All right, sis.
y'all.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I truly pray that something was said that was truly transformational for your life in terms of going forward in freedom. I want you to like, share, comment, and subscribe to this podcast. Make sure you tell everybody. I believe that we're going to go forward in freedom together. And do not forget to download the Permission app. This is the place where you can gain free access first to the Permission Talk episodes. You can gain daily devotionals and even exclusive content with myself and other ladies in sisterhood. I can't wait for us to go forward in this journey of freedom. Love you.
I want everything he has for me.